and give up. And that's frustrating. Okay. If you don't know how to do something, look it up. Look it up. It's important. It's a life skill. All right. First one. Identify the function family to which this belongs, and then find the domain and range. So, Cash, start me out here. What function family does this belong to?
Absolute value.
Absolute value. What is the domain? All real numbers. What is the range? Y has to be greater than or equal to 0. Good. Okay. How about number 2, AJ? On problem number 2, AJ, it asks us to graph G and the parent function and describe the transformation. So let's start with the parent function. What is the parent function?
Quadratic.
Quadratic. Okay, the parent function is quadratic, which is y equals x squared.
Yep.
So, what's negative 2 squared?
4.
What's negative 1 squared?
1.
What's 0 squared? 1 and 2.
4.
You have to have those 5 points on your graph. Now, when you look at this equation, which way is it shifting? What's the minus 5 going to make it do? Right 5 and what? Up 2. There's your transformation. So you're going to take each of these points and go right 5, up 2. Right 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, up 1. Hang on a second. Right 5, up 2. Right 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, up 2. There we go. And there. And the blue function would be g of x. How'd you guys do on number 2? By the way, the first 6 questions, that quiz that I gave back to you yesterday, I gave everybody back their quiz. If you were absent, it's in the folder. I did give you your quiz back. Use that to find extra problems like this to study from. Okay? Perfect. Next 2. All right, we're going to reflect this one over the x-axis. Jillian, what do? You reflect over the x-axis. Change y. And y is everything. So you just put a negative in front of the whole equation. And now what do you do with that negative? And when you distribute it, what do you get? Done. Questions on 3. Okay, problem number 4, vertical compression by 1/3. So Chloe, what do you do when you do a vertical compression by 1/3?
You put everything in parentheses and multiply it by 1/3.
Okay, you put everything in parentheses and put a 1/3 on the outside. So I'm going to rewrite this here. Now, I do have to clean this up. You can't stop here. What do you do then, Chloe, with this 1/3?
You distribute the 1/3 to the 5.
Okay,
Outside of the absolute.
you have to give it to the outside because you're not allowed to give it to the inside and to the 5. So what's my final answer going to be, Chloe?
1/3 absolute value 4x minus 2. 5.
And that's your first term. Plus, and then when you multiply there, you got 5/3. Perfect. Questions on 4. Okay, 5 and 6 were just like 6 and 7 on your quiz. Just like 6 and 7 on your quiz. These were big ones on our quiz. If you want to try another problem, cover it up on your quiz and try it again on your quiz. Okay, Mitch. Consider this equation and first do a reflection in y. What do you do when you reflect y, Mitch? So you have 7 and then x becomes what? Guys, simplify each step before you go on to the next transformation. Simplify each step before you go on to each next transformation. So what does that simplify to? Mitch? What does that simplifies to negative 7x? Now, it says followed by right 3. What do you do when you go right 3? Okay, just add 3. And is it add?
What?
If you're going right,
Oh, you subtract.
yeah, if you're going right, you subtract 3. And it's in parentheses. Now you guys put the parentheses in crazy places. The only thing that is adding 3 to is that x. So you have to put just that x becomes x minus 3. And now what do you do with that negative on the outside? And so clean this up before you do your next one. What do you get now?
-7x plus 21.
And now you're going to do a vertical stretch by 4. What do you do now? Multiply the whole thing by 4. Distribute again. What do you get?
-28x plus 84.
28x plus 84. And that is my final answer. Okay, questions there. Lots of, you got to show some work there. The more work you show on your test, the more partial credit I can give you. Keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. All right, let's look at the next one. Starting again with f of x equals x squared. First, reflect x. What do you do when you reflect x? So help me with this one, Quinn.
Make that x negative.
Not the x. If you reflect x, you change what?
Oh, the y.
Change the y. So y is what?
The whole thing.
The whole thing. So you're going to put a negative outside of the whole thing. Now you're going to do a horizontal stretch by 2. What do you do when you do a horizontal stretch by 2?
Multiply x by 1.
Good. X gets replaced with 1/2 x. Remember, horizontal's hard. Horizontal's reciprocal. Horizontal affects only the x because it's the x coordinate. So we're going to replace, once again, just like up there, just the x gets replaced with 1/2 x. So what do you have to put around that? So negative is on the outside. 1/2 x is on the inside. Squared is on the outside. Clean that up. What is negative 1/2 x times 1/2 x?
Negative 1/4 x.
Good. Negative 1/4 x squared. Can't make an x u into a line. Has to still have the squared. And now when you go down 3, what are you going to do?
Subtract 3 at the end.
Subtract 3 at the end. So it's negative 1/4 x squared minus 3. All right, if this is our test, how are we doing so far?
Good.
Okay? Any questions through 6? All right, this next one can be hard to go over because the way everybody chooses to do it could be different. However, I'm going to assume all of you chose to eliminate which variable? X, right? Because x is the only one that's what? By itself. By itself. Okay, so I'll see if we can kind of talk through this together. When you eliminated Josh Lippy, x, which equation did you start with?
2 and 3.
Okay, now when you did 2 and 3, what did you multiply equation 3 by?
4.
And when you did, I'm going to bring down, this is equation 2 and equation 3. So you had 4x minus 3y plus 2z equals 20. And when you multiplied equation 3 by 4, what did you get?
Negative 4x plus 16y plus 24z equals 32.
All right, and when you added those together, what did you get?
13y plus 26z
Equals what?
52.
52. Perfect.
Guys, we have 11th grade students with last names starting with E through G. Please report to the hall for your help.
Just a minute. Okay, so now you had to use equation what?
1.
1. And what did you use equation 1 with?
3.
3. Okay, so I'm going to guess you brought equation 1 down as you saw it. And what did you multiply equation 3 by this time?
5.
By 5. So when you multiply by 5, what did you get?
Negative 5x plus 20y plus 30z equals 40.
Okay, add them together. What'd you get?
22y plus 26z equals 34.
Perfect. Now I need to solve the green equation with the red equation. The z's are both 26z, so I just need to make one of them a what? Negative. It does not matter which one you made negative. Did you make 13y negative or 22y negative?
22y.
So he multiplied this one by -1. When you did, what'd you get?
Negative 22y minus 26z equals -34.
Okay, and when you add those together, what do you get?
Negative 9y equals 18.
Negative 9y equals 18. Divide by,
Negative 9.
and y is
Negative 2.
-2. Now, at this point, you could go into any of the equations that have just a y and a z. Which one did you go into? Again, guys, the more work you show me on this tomorrow or on Monday, the more partial credit I can give you if you miss a stupid negative.
I went into 13y plus 26.
Okay, so 13 times y plus 26z equals 52. What's 13 times -2?
Negative 26.
What'd you do now?
Added 26 over.
Added 26. And what'd you get when you added 26?
78.
And now what'd you do?
Divided by 26.
And when you divided by 26, what'd you get for z?
3.
3. And now you go back into any of the top 3 equations. I'm going to guess a lot of you used -x plus 4 times y. Oh, where's the other one? Plus 6 times z equals 8. What's 4 times -2, everybody? -8 plus 18. What's -8 plus 18? 10. What'd you do now? Subtract, you get -x equals -2. So what's x? 2. Now, this answer needs to be written as a coordinate point. It's the point what? 2, -2, 3. As I told you the other day, this will work out to nice, neat numbers. If you don't get nice, neat numbers, you have done something wrong. I also want to remind you, if at any point you are dividing, what are we going to divide here? 2. What is 0 divided by 2?
0.
Do not panic. 0 is a number. You can have a point on 0. Do not go into panic mode. Okay? All right, lots of crazy work on number 7. Questions?
Nope.
All right, problem number 8. Are we getting better with this? Okay, on problem number 8, it does, I added this, use your calculator, because once I show you number 9, I sometimes have kids go and do number 8 with the way I do number 9, and I don't want you to do that. This is a calculator. This is linear regression on your calculator. So, it will say use your calculator. So how do I get this data into my calculator, Addie?
Stat and then edit.
Stat and edit. Now I have data in there, and so I'm going to go up, clear down, over, up, clear down. By the way, I will make you clear your calculators before our test tomorrow, so don't be writing any notes anywhere in there because they'll get zapped out. Learn how to do it. Okay? All right, now in for list 1, I'm going to enter 53, 62, 70, 82, and 90. Guys, please take a minute on the test tomorrow. Do a 2-second check to make sure you didn't enter something incorrectly. Because if you're off by a little bit, I can't see what you put in your calculator. Okay? So it's hard for this one with partial credit because I can't see what you did wrong in your calculator. So double check that you entered them right. All right, once you got your list in, Addie, what are you going to do now?
Same and then 9.
Okay, I'm going to go to y equals and clear out my line. because I had one from yesterday. And then I'm going to go zoom 9. So here's my scatter plot. Does it appear to be linear? Does it appear to look like a line? So can you use linear regression? It asks you that because there's other types of regression we're actually going to learn next chapter, quadratic regression. So yeah, might have to decide, am I going to use linear regression? Am I going to use quadratic regression? What type of regression am I going to use? And in this case, yeah, it makes a line, so I'm going to use linear. So now, Addie, what do you do next?
Go to stat and then to calc and then 4.
Stat calc 4. Down to calculate. Run that regression. Now, what's the correlation coefficient?
0.9.
0.99. Is that pretty strong positive? Mm-hmm. Now, I will ask you for the model. Running out of room because I'm dropping all my things here. But when I ask you for the model, that's the equation. What's the equation you would write here?
Y equals 1.48x plus 12.09.
Okay. Are you guys cool there? Round to 2 decimal places. Now, estimate the number of cones that will be sold when the temperature is 60 degrees. So now I cannot estimate until I graph that line on this calculator. So what am I going to do now?
Hit graph. And then go to y equals, then bars, and then 5.
Y equals vars, number 5, statistics, over to equation, enter, and graph. And now you have that line. Remember, guys, you cannot graph unless your plot is turned on. To graph plots, your plot needs to turn on. To graph other, just like y equals x squared minus 3, you turn that off and you zoom 6. All right, now what do I do next?
Go to second and then calc.
Second calc,
1.
1. And I want to know for what? 60. And how many ice cream cones? Now, are you going to round this if it's an ice cream cone? Can you have a fraction of an ice cream cone? No. So how many ice cream cones are you going to have? 101. 101. Good. Questions? All right. Everybody's saying this next one is tough. Okay, this one was just like one that we had in your notes. You had one in your notes about homecoming or prom venues. And it said, which prom venue charges less per student? Okay, so go back to your notes when you're doing these, find these, and work with it.
Attention, all 11th grade students with last names starting with H. Please report to call for your help screening.
Okay, this one talks about parking garages. And parking garage in Chicago is 15x plus 20. Okay, it says in Denver, this is Denver. How could I write I will make you write an equation for Denver. Don't use your calculator for this. You can, but I wanted you to do this by hand. And I think I say show work for your equation on the test. You can check it with your calculator, but I think on the test I say must show work. So, how do I show work for Denver for this equation? How many points do you need to write an equation? We spent 3 days on this. How many points do you need to write an equation of a line? 2. How many did I give you?
2.
I gave you 4. I gave you 4. Jarrett, pick 2 points. What 2 points do you want to use?
2 and 43.
2, 43, and
351.
351. What do you have to find first, Jarrett?
Slope.
Okay, what's your slope? How are you going to find your slope?
Subtracts 2 from 3.
Ooh, what? Change the line.
Sorry, subtract 51 from 43.
51 minus 43 over.
3 minus 2.
Okay, what's 51 minus 43?
8.
Over.
1.
So what's your slope?
Up 8.
8. Now pick one of your points to work with, Jarrett. Which one do you want to work with?
2 and 43.
2, and 43. So now, do you want to go into y equals mx plus b or point slope?
Y equals mx plus.
Okay, so if you go into y equals mx plus b, what are you going to plug in for y?
43.
M?
8.
X?
2.
What's 8 times 2?
16.
What are you going to do now?
Subtract 16.
And when you subtract 16, what do you get?
27.
So now, what is the equation for Denver?
Y equals 8x plus 27.
Y equals 8x plus 27. So now, everybody, who charges more per hour? It asked you who charges more per hour. Make sure you read. Which city garage charges more per hour? Well, how much does Chicago charge per hour? 15 plus $20 up front. How much does Denver charge per hour? 8. So who charges more per hour? Chicago charges more per hour. Okay. And then it says, oh, and by how much more? By what? 1? How much does Chicago charge per hour? 15. How much does Denver charge an hour? So by how much more? By $7 per hour. Okay. Now, after how many hours are the costs the same? What do you do to figure out when the costs are the same? What do we do? I was trying to go back. Mitch.
Set them equal.
Yeah, set them equal. Did you guys thought 15x plus 20 equals 8x plus 27? Guys, do you remember when we did this? You even had one in your homework like this. Look it up. Look it up. Don't get lazy. What do you do now? Solve this, everybody. Subtract 8x. What do you get? 7x plus 20 equals 27. What do you do now? Yeah, guys, if you get a negative number, you have done something wrong. Do what now? And what do you get for x? So for 1 hour, when you stay for 1 hour, they are equal. Questions on that one? Okay, I will post this video along with the answer key at the conclusion of the day. How do you study? We're still going to do number 10. How do we study for this time? If you don't touch this until a class on Monday, it's not going to go well. How do we study for this test? Do it again. Do it again. This test is, some of you want to know how many points. I know I didn't hear that. 70, you think? 82.
Oh my.
Okay. All right. Okay. So some of you who didn't put a lot of effort into this practice test have some work to do this weekend. All right, let's take a look at this next one. 3 orders were placed at a food truck. A sandwich, a juice, a fruit cup cost $9. 2 sandwiches, a juice, and 2 fruit cups cost $16.50. 3 sandwiches, 2 juice cups, 2 juices, and a fruit cup cost $19. How much does each of one item cost? So start by asking yourself, what are you trying to find? So Natalie, what are you trying to find?
The cost of the sandwich.
Okay, the cost of a sandwich. What else?
Cost of juice.
The cost of a juice, and what else?
Cost of a fruit cup.
Cost of a fruit cup. Okay, did you let it be X, Y, Z?
Yeah.
Okay, X, Y, and Z. 3 unknowns. How many equations do you need? 3. So, Natalie, what's your first equation that you made?
X plus Y plus Z equals 9.
X plus Y plus Z equals 9. When they bought 1 of each, it cost $9. How about the next one?
2x plus Y plus 2Z equals $16.50.
Okay, 2x plus y plus 2z equals $16.50. How about the next one?
3x plus Z equals 19.
3x plus 2y?
Yeah.
Did you lose your y? Did you lose your 2y?
I got 2. Wait.
I'm asking Natalie.
Oh wait, I think so. Yeah.
You lost it, or you were the one that had trouble with this one, didn't you?
No, I had.
Okay. Did you have on the last equation 3x plus 2y plus z?
Oh, I lost the 2y on
You
there.
lost it. Okay. Yep. All right, so that's going to mess up the whole problem. All right, so now, did you guys eliminate x, y, or z? I would think any of them are acceptable. Which one did you guys choose, y or z? Y? Most of you choose y? Okay. On mine, I did y as well. Okay, so which equation, let me go to somebody else since she kind of messed it up a little bit. Justin, which equation did you choose first? Justin's like, oh man.
I messed the problem up.
All right, well, help me out now.
Well, I will.
Which one do you want to use first? 1 and 2, 1 and 3, 1 and what? We're going to eliminate y.
1 and 2.
Okay, and what did you do when you did 1 and 2? Which one do you want to multiply by what to make them opposites?
1 by -2.
Okay, we're making y's opposite.
Oh,
What's the opposite of y?
negative.
So we just need to multiply by a -1. Which one?
1.
1 by what?
-1.
Okay, when you do, what do you get?
Negative x minus y minus z equals -9.
Okay, bring the other one down. Add. What do you get when you add those?
X. And then the y's cancel out. And then z plus z equals. Hold on. 7.5.
Okay. Now, you have to use equation 3. Did you want to use equation with 3 with 1 or 3 with 2?
1.
Okay, so I'm going to write 3 down first. And you used it with 1. So same thing. What do you get when you multiply a -1 with 1? Oh no, we're getting rid of y, aren't we? So what would you have to multiply y by now to get the y's to cancel?
-2.
Now we're going to multiply by -2. So what do you get?
Hold on. Negative 2x minus 2y minus 2z equals -18.
Okay. Add. What do you get?
X minus z equals 1.
Ah, look how sweet that is.
Oh,
Good
yeah.
Can I just make them add now? Are they opposites? When you add, Justin, what do you get?
X equals.
Careful. X plus x
Oh, wait,
is.
hold on. Sorry, 2x equals 8.5.
Now divide by.
Wrong.
You have $8.50.
4.25.
Okay. Now, which one do you want to go back into to find z?
Probably 1.
Okay, so you have 4.25 plus z equals 7.5. What are you going to do now?
Subtract 4.25.
And when you do, what do you have left?
Looks like 3.25.
3.25 is correct. And now, guys, which one do you want to go into to find y? Probably equation what?
1.
1. Because now you have 4.25 plus y plus 3.25 equals 9. What do you guys get when you add 4.25 and 3.25? $7 and what? 50 cents. Subtract 750. And how much is y?
Oh.
Y is $1.50.
$1.50.
So now, you're not going to write this one as a coordinate point. You're going to go back up and you're going to say a sandwich costs what? $4.25. A juice box costs $1.50.
Attention, 11th grade students with class names starting J through L. Please report to the hall.
If that is you, take your stuff.
J through L.
Okay, so how did we end up? What do you guys think? I mean, is this your test? By now, you saw your first quiz. Is this your test?
Yeah.
There are 10 questions on your test.
Oh.
82. Well, so it's 41 points and then I double it. Okay?
I think that's more helpful.
So, all right. Study. Somebody had trouble on the last one. I said I'd help them. Who was it? Did you figure it out? Yes or no? Okay. Let me come back.
I got big.
Does it even fit anything?
Drop it.